What's up, guys? Welcome to the Reload Podcast. My name is Cody Luongo. It is May 9th, 2 p.m. Central, the time we come live with the show. We coming alive. Man, that intro never gets old. Bulls on Parade. I think it's the Team Awesome remix. I love to see it. Love to hear it. What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. We got a pretty nice lineup scheduled out. We're obviously talking about the best of IEM Sydney. The tournament was absolutely insane from the crowd, the caches, the show match was absolutely solid. You had debatably the match of the year between Fnatic and Nip, and also Liquid finally breaking the curse and taking first place of the tournament. We'll get into all that and more, but first, let's bring in our guest today. It is the man, the myth, it's the legend, it's DaBears. It's Erik, DaBears, Stromberg, baby.
I'm dodging spoilers because they're everywhere online. Watch out for those endgame spoilers.
There's a hook.
Whoa,
There you go.
that was close.
I like
I
that.
almost saw something I shouldn't have seen, but luckily for me, I saw the movie the other day, so no spoilers cannot hurt me anymore.
What'd you think?
How you doing, dog? I don't want to give away too much, but I'm more of a purist in the way of storytelling. You know, I like comics, I like books, so my rating's 6.5 out of 10.
6.5?
6.5 because I keep it real. I prefer good writing. I prefer good action. They had the good action, but writing, I won't go into it now, but 6.5 because of the action. There you go.
Hurts
That's right.
hearing that. Oh, hurts. I saw it. I liked
down.
it.
You guys like watered down drinks. It's okay. All right. I'm here to remind you that there's more to life than watered down drinks.
Thank you.
Game.
Thank you. Bears, always bringing the action to the show. Every time you come in, dodging punches, coming in hot, talking about endgame, giving it a 6.5.
6.5. Keep it real.
What else can I say? Thank you. Thank you for everything.
It's a pleasure doing the service.
Sir.
Pleasure doing the service.
I'm sure we could chat all day with our good banter, but let's bring in our second guest today, our special guest. She is a player for CLG Red. She's been there since the beginning of the organization. You actually had the pleasure of coaching her. Her name's Diane Tran. Let's see her. Bring her in.
I know, I'm Eric's favorite.
We used to have claps when that happened. There we go. Okay.
There we go.
Yay!
Diane, how's it going? It's been a while.
It's going great. How are you?
Doing all right. Just try and keep the CS grind. You know, you got to watch demos. You got to play pugs. You got to play some scrims here and there. I always try to keep on top of my game, evolving, constantly evolving. Just like you, you're constantly evolving.
Wow. This union is amazing.
I love it.
Just bring it together. Just bring it all together. That's what I want to do.
You never stay on top of all the CS. It's impossible.
It's hard. It's
a tough life. The CS grind is a tough life, I swear.
It takes a certain character to do it. But Diane, she has that character. She has that grind, the will, the power, the dedication.
Aww.
That's what you need.
Oh my gosh.
Eric, he never told me this when he was coaching me. It's crazy.
What did he tell you?
Like,
then?
I have to keep a certain, because you have to keep a certain distance between you and the players. You can't get too close. You gotta, they gotta kind of be afraid of you just a little bit. You know, if you become too friendly,
fearful.
They stop
Eric
respectfully.
was a scary coach. Yep.
I was constantly quiet, yelling all the time, and just making sure that no feelings were hurt.
Quiet
That's
yelling.
what you got to do. Quiet yelling.
I'm curious, but I won't ask for an example.
It's okay.
But I resonate with that. You know, I had a high school soccer coach who we do like an alumni game, and he's always like, "Man, I always believed in you," and I'm like, well, "You didn't play me." You know what I mean?
You didn't play me.
You know what I mean? Like, how much did you believe? You didn't believe in me. Now you tell me this?
There you go.
Bunch of jerks.
Day.
How are you? First off, thank you for joining. Really
Of
appreciate
course.
it. Yeah.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, definitely. So we want to start by talking a little bit about you, and obviously your recent tournament results and all that jazz. But I want to take a step back, and I want to know kind of how you got started in CS. Maybe what was your first memory of the game? How did you get started in the game?
Oh wow. I started CS when I was like 12, I think, and I watched my brother play this game like literally all the time, and I wanted to play it so bad because I really liked first-person shooters growing up. And it's funny how I got my Steam account from him. So my Steam account is originally his, and he lost my iPod that I got for my birthday. So
Ooh,
he
Oh.
was like, "Mhm."
devastating.
I know. I was
Was
Mm.
it
12.
a
I was
Nano?
really mad. Yep.
Oh my.
So he was like, "You know what? Because you like CS:GO so much, I'll give you my Steam account and you can play CS whenever you want, and it'll call it even for me losing your iPod."
You just paid
And being
$10 for an iPod?
yeah, me being 12, I was like, "That's the best deal I could obviously take." So
Yeah.
I did,
Well, it
and then
turned
I
out
started
well.
playing
Look at
CS.
that. The fruit that
Yeah,
keeps on giving.
seems like a good investment, honestly.
It was a
At the
great
time,
deal.
it doesn't seem too good. It's not a good numbers, but you know what? You got to look
Yeah.
at the long picture here, not the instant transaction, but what led to you here today.
Exactly.
He tried to rip you off, but you got the better end. He's like, "Oh, that shiny pink iPod Nano that's gone. Well, here's a Steam account. This little
Best
seed."
investment. Yep.
And now look where we are, right? So, how did from there? When did the idea of playing the game professionally start for you? Like, when did that idea come to like fruition or make it more of a reality for you?
I think when I was probably approached by Steph, Miss Harvey,
Mhm.
she approached me when I was like 19 at the time, and she saw the potential in me, and she was like, it wasn't even like it was an actual tryout in my head. She just randomly messaged me. She was like, "Hey, our fifth is out of town. Would you like to come bring her for us?" So I'm like, "Yeah, sure, that'd be really cool." So I played with them for at least like week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, and then they were officially like, "Do you want to come to Paris with us, play ESWC?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course."
Nice.
So,
Ringing to going to Lantern in Paris. That's pretty nice.
yep.
And you were 19 at the time.
I was 19. I was a baby.
What did your family think of that at that time? When you were
I
like
have
you
very
approached them, you're like, "I'm about to go to Paris to play." So like, what were your friends and family like at that time?
I think they thought it was cool. My siblings, at least. My parents, on the other hand, weren't like that insanely supportive at the beginning of the like time I was like going to all these events and stuff because they were, as like parents like think of their kids, they want them to be like the best in terms of like financially and like make sure like you have a set career, like education's like the number one thing. And honestly, after my mom saw like she actually watches my game now on Twitch, which is really cute.
Nice.
um she's super supportive and she sees how I can make a livelihood out of gaming and what I love to do now. So yeah, she's like she wasn't 100% on board, but now she like actually enjoys it. So
That's
it's
cool.
really cool.
Yeah, I
They
think
always turn
my mom
around once
watches
there's
my
money
show.
involved. They all
Yep.
do. They all do. Oh, you're making money? What? You getting paid? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Be my guest. Make some money. Have fun. Go
It's
at
like,
it.
we don't want to pay for you for your whole life. You can make some money.
It's pretty much similar to my parents. It's the exact same thing. Very hard to convince. But once the
I
money's
mean,
involved, they're like, oh, okay, go ahead.
there's a question. What was it
Always
like
a
for
turnaround.
you back in the day then, Eric, when you were starting to make that transition?
Ooh,
You
there's
got
a lot of
beaten with a wooden
convincing,
stick.
a lot of begging. I mean, there's times when my parents would hide the Ethernet cord, the power cord, my
Oh my
keyboard,
God.
my mouse, but I had backups for everything. So every time that they took something, I just replace it and keep on playing without them
Oh
knowing.
my
That's how
God.
dedication. I think after me showing how dedicated and how much I wanted to play, and also money, they kind of just finally it's like whatever, it's gonna let him go, let him do his thing. Yeah,
Amazing. All
that's
right.
from there on out. I just been sucked in the esports
There you go.
Such
Very
a rebel,
cool.
Eric.
world. And look at now, esports is mainstream. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, well, it's getting
I feel
there.
like I'm a godfather, like a grandpa. Just
You kind of are. Your
I feel like
grandbear.
that. I'm getting that age. Jeez, be the 40-year-old gamer in here in a couple of years. Oof.
Yeah, man. Shit. We're lucky to
I
have you.
represent.
We need the
Represent.
wisdom. All right. We need the
Mm,
wisdom. You just spread that. So I'll spread all that
mm.
all across all of
You
us.
got to do it. You got to try to do it. And you know what? Speaking of wisdom, I got a question for you, Diane. So since you're first on the team, you probably have the mentality, okay, I'm going to listen, I'm going to see what they have to say, just play my own game and take it from there. But now, since you're more of a veteran kind of player, you've been on the team for many years, um, and you have newer players hopping on the team. do you feel more of a mentor, or kind of like you have to lead these ladies into the right direction, or maybe be more vocal on how to fix mistakes and stuff like that?
Yeah. So I do feel more of like a veteran because me and Benita are probably the longest standing members on this team right now. Um, yeah, it's crazy to me that we picked up Emmy, who was 16 at the time when we were like getting new players. I know it's
Yeah,
I thought I was young, and then we
yeah,
picked her up. I'm like, oh my god, I'm old. Like
yeah.
it's hit me now.
She's still in high school. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but actually, I'm IGLing right now, which I really like.
Ooh,
Nice.
I know it's really fun. I've
that's a
been IGLing for
different.
the past like I know for the past like 2 3 seasons maybe, and yeah, so far I really like it. I think in the past tense, I think it's been more of like I want to say like, and then no terms like this is like any harsh or like rude like terms. It's just more of like an alpha female who's like always been the IGL for our team, and I think I'm not very alpha like, in terms of,
Mm,
like, "Why the f
mm.
are you doing this? Why are they" like, like, stuff like that,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
it's more of like, "Oh, okay, you coulda done this better," or, "Okay, you coulda" you coulda done this instead of X and Y. And I think that helps, like, younger members who are, like, who also tend to be more emotional in terms of, like, getting into, like, really tense moments or, like, getting, like, really nervous in situations, and I don't know, I it's not just me saying like what we should also do, but I also think Bez right now, our coach, like I'm always open to constructive criticism too. Like me as an IGL, like I still have to learn so much, especially calling for the team. So it's always like it's not just me saying like to the other girls like, hey, you should have been doing this. Like it's also Bez telling me, or even the other girls telling me like, hey, we could have been doing this and this. Like it's always just like a team effort kind of thing.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Having like a little system, and criticism these days. People do get offended really easily. I don't know
Yep,
why, but it's how it is. And you don't. I think your style. You don't have to be an alpha to really have a good team. You just have to know the mistakes and uh, present it in a way where you're not condescending and just literally just trying to
exactly.
help out the team. And you have the coach involved, so it's more of a group thing than you
Hmm.
pointing out an individual. And I think that could go well for a team environment, because everyone's trying to improve and get better. And as you said, being IGL super hard. The meta is always changing,
Hmm.
the strats change a little bit, and you have to know these little minute details of maybe different smoke placements, placements, and know which to call at right time. And so there's an enormous amount of stress on the IGO role. So I'm happy that you like it. It's not easy. It's very stressful for a lot of people. So it's good that you embrace it, and it shows. I mean, your guys' recent results. You guys are winning tournaments, and
Yeah.
so that's a huge step in the
Woo!
right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. To obviously piggyback what Erik was saying. So CLG in 2019, you guys got second at IEM Katowice, first at WESG, and then most recently first at Copenhagen Games. So it's been a fairly good year for the team, eh?
Oh, yep. This is my year, honestly. It's the year of the golden pig. I was born the year of the
Ooh,
pig.
there
Mhm.
you
Hey,
go. They see the
okay.
golden
This is
pig.
my year, boys. Yep. Chinese
That's good.
zodiac.
That's like to see.
Right on.
So we had um Benita on a couple weeks ago about your win and whatnot. I think it was at W's ESG
WESG.
that she was talking about, and the one of the things that she mentioned on why that term is a little different than other ones is because she had absolute confidence that they will win. Now that's kind of a rare feeling, especially in the matches that you guys are playing. You guys are down like 14-7, or I don't know, like
Oh my
some
god,
absurd
yeah.
Yeah.
scoreline where you guys had to win like 10 rounds in a row to stay in it, and you guys managed to do that and ended up winning the tournament. So I mean, confidence being one thing, do you have any other factors, maybe other than confidence, that kind of helped you guys come back in those wins? You remember any like specific thing that's wow, that just really helped us win? It was like a demo watch or something, or anything in game?
Um, so I guess in terms of what helped us more win, like I think it was just so after Katowice, we were really, really like disappointed about getting second because obviously if you're not first, you're last, you know?
Yeah.
So after that, we figured like, you know what? I think it's something with our mental issues because I mean, deep down, like we all knew like we were better, like skilled individuals, like better than any of those females there, and 100% like we should have been winning these tournaments. So I
Right.
think for us it was more of so of our mindset and like when we were a really momentum based team. Like we would snowball if we would start losing, we would snowball if we would start like winning. You know, it was kind of like back and forth, and there was never any like just like straight up like you know we can keep doing this, et cetera, et cetera. And so we actually have a sports psychologist that talks to us. So
Ooh.
I made it, yeah. So we got a meeting with her. We're just like, listen, we have two more tournaments coming up right now. We need to like set something straight. Like we need to do something to fix this. And she told us like, you know, it's all just a mental game. Like she gave us like a bunch of tips to help us like become, you know, less stressful and less nervous in those environments. And it showed at China and
Wow.
Copenhagen. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Well,
definitely
that's
showed.
good. That worked.
What were some of the tips she gave you, if you don't mind me asking? Like, I'm always curious in terms of a sports psychologist coming into like esports for a gamer.
Yeah, so some of the tips she gave us was like, you know, like instead of thinking like, what can we do to lose? Just have that mindset like, if we lose, you lose. You know, like it's okay that happens, and it's just more so like our thought process when we're like going through these things is like there should be a level of confidence, but there should also be a level of knowing that you're just better. You know,
Mm,
you play more with like freedom and you're playing less scared at that point. You don't play to lose, you play to win.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
I get
huge thing.
am I making sense? Yeah, I
No,
don't know.
Well,
absolutely.
you're making a lot of sense because it's a big thing. I mean, and we're going to talk about this later, but Team Liquid, they're probably the biggest component of playing not to lose. And I mean, you see them
Mhm,
time and time and time again getting to the finals of tournaments, to playing some of the best teams in the world and just kind of like dropping the ball in the finals. And obviously, this is a mental game. The only
mhm,
physical aspect is sitting in your chair and moving your mouse and keyboard and stuff like that. And everything else is mental. So that's actually a really good point. Like you lose, but have the confidence, and because it makes a world of a difference. Especially, like a couple milliseconds is all it takes for a headshot or to be headshotted. So that confidence takes away those extra couple milliseconds, which will make a big impact in the long run.
Yeah,
I
I
agree,
resonate with
especially at lands.
Oh yeah.
definitely.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. I resonate with the idea of like playing with freedom. I remember I was reading an interview or watching a stream. Like I digested this information somewhere, where it was a scenario where I think Liquid was playing Australis, and they ended up like beating them in a map because the coach of Liquid had told them that they were giving Australis too much respect. They were respecting them
Mhm,
too much in the map, and once they started to switch that on the map, they dialed in and ended up taking the game from them. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
kind of that idea of that
yeah.
freedom. You can't give your opponents respect, or maybe you do in some cases. I guess it depends on the opportunity
Yeah.
You
When
that
you
you
make
have.
play
them play your game, yeah, instead of
yeah,
you playing
yeah.
their game.
Yep, that's pretty on point. You play, if you give them too much respect, it shows that you're a little scared of them, and gives that team a little more confidence. And like at the high level play, it's not about playing a setup that's going to work. It's all little micro moves that you can make, bait and aid, sounds, footsteps, whatever it takes to win the round. It has to be present. If you're,
Hmm.
if you're giving a team too much respect, you might get in that, I would say, cement feet, where you're just kind of
Mhm.
standing around in one area too long, not getting map information, or putting yourself in a bad spot after a long period of time because you didn't, I guess, reposition or move or whatnot.
Right. So, Di, tell me about Copenhagen. You went there. You took first. Like, tell me a little bit about the tournament. Did you expect to play Assassins in the finals there?
Uh, so they got first out of their oh, they won the other semis. Yeah. So I honestly was expecting to play them. I mean, for me, I think they're an up and coming team that just needs a little bit more practice with each other because they all individually have sick aim. They all individually are like, you know, skilled individuals themselves. So I think it's just in terms that they're a new team still and they just need to practice on the better teamwork. And the more they do that, the better they'll become. For me personally, I think they're better than Dignitas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Just throwing it out there.
And yeah, that's right. Because people are like, you know, Oh, I can't believe that was a huge upset by Dignitas to lose to Dignitas or Assassins, and for me, it's like they actually dropped a map to them at IEM. So for me, it was no surprise that they won that BO3.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, coming into this tournament, I was thinking that you guys or CLG Red would be hoping to topple Dignitas in the final and face them and win.
I think it would have been bittersweet too to actually play Dignitas in the finals for sure. But
Mhm.
I mean, I'll take a W. You know.
Yeah.
W to W in the tournament. I mean,
Hey, that's
hey,
right.
whoever it is, you guys won, and people remember first place, not second.
Yeah. So you talked about what you kind of accredited your recent results in, placing well. You know, these pair of first place finishes. What's next for the team? What tournaments do you guys have coming up? Anything on the schedule?
So there is a tournament coming up in July that I can't say anything about yet,
Okay.
but just know that it will be during the summer. And besides that one, it's probably going to be Frag that we like to attend to.
Okay.
Frag is always super fun. We
Nice.
always go there like every event, so that'll probably be the next two that we're gonna do.
And is CLG Red gonna win those?
You can't ask
I
that, of course. Of course,
listen.
what are you gonna
Yeah,
ask that?
hold on.
I'm
I
riding
can
off
just.
that const.
No,
that
we're
I
gonna
confidence.
have a
ask
wooden
place here.
table, but listen, like I'm not, knock on wood. But I'm hoping we do. I hope that. It's actually funny. Kenny or Kusta, he told me, he congratulated me on winning Copenhagen, and then he said add oil, which is some old Chinese saying, I guess, to put in more gas. He said keep
Mm,
gassing. You add oil, because everybody's gunning for you now because you've been
mm.
winning these past tournaments. So I thought that was a funny saying, but it's very true. Like we have to keep working hard no matter what. Even if you're winning, you still have to, you have to fix those small errors that you get. So
Yeah, I like
Well,
that.
especially when
Keep
you're
that
number
oil.
one right now, you're gonna have a target on your back, and people are gonna watch your demos more intensely. They're
oh
going
yeah.
to play even harder in scrims, pugs, whatever it is.
Mhm.
They're going to play that much harder against you, and you have to stay on top of the game. It's pretty rough out there once you hit that number one. It's even harder staying at number one. They say
Yep.
it's hard enough getting number one, but it's even harder to stay at the top.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I got a good question on because I don't want to give away too much of your strategies or anything, but is there a player that you specifically maybe watch more demos of, or maybe try to mimic? Not really a play style, but get a lot of good ideas from. Are there any players that we would know of?
Yeah, of course. I love watching pro demos. I think the best player to watch in terms of playstyle for me for opping, I think is Device. I think he's super
Ooh.
smart in his positioning. He plays a style where it's like he goes for that shot, falls off, goes to another shot, repositions, ops, misses or hits the shot, repositions, goes back. He always has a fallback plan, and I like his fallback plan because not only can he get a kill from it, but it's also a safe play too to help your team. So I like watching him, but also Guardian because Guardian's my favorite.
All
So
right. Yeah, Guardian has the aim. He's not as positional as Device. I mean, obviously
yeah.
he does have pretty good position, but Device would definitely be one of the players to look for positional opping. And the whole
Hmm.
style of Astralis is to pretty much play around each other, flash, smoke each other. So if you guys have a system where you're able to work that, it makes it easier for the opper, because as you said, you take a shot, you fall back. That's another angle that the T's have to, or CTs have to clear, or if you're CT,
Hmm.
I guess you fall back. It's another angle T's have to clear, and maps like Overpass, you could literally have like 4 to 5 fallback angles before they even hit the bomb
Yeah.
site. And so it's, if you have your on point, like 4 or 5 different kind of strategies, it makes a nightmare for T's and annoying, and it's just a long grind. And, if they're not
Hmm.
mentally prepared for something like that, you can really take advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no way you can copy Simple though. There's that guy just
He's too
does
wide.
he
He's
It's
pure
he
aim and
natural.
does whatever he
intuition.
wants
It's literally
and hits
natural.
every single shot that he does. So
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
copy that. There's no
Yeah.
copying.
Yeah.
It's just
Simple
second
is just a
nature.
different. He's just got intuition and aim. Like I'm gonna peek here now. Which doesn't make
Yeah.
sense, but it works for him because he gets the kill.
Hmm.
He's really good at doing that. So it's hard to mimic that style. You can't really copy Simple.
Literally born to play Counter Strike.
Pretty much.
I mean, what'd Simple be doing if he wasn't playing CS?
God, I don't even know.
Playing some other FPS.
Sure. Yeah, so moving on, there's a couple headlines to touch on from this week, kind of getting to the brunt of the show. And I thought one that was really interesting was that Liquid was rumored to skip Cologne to play in Blast Pro Series Los Angeles. So Thorn was the one to break this story initially. You can see the tweet there. I'm looking for
Thorn, always controversial.
Yeah.
Always throwing in the big language to get people riled up. He stirs the pot and just puts his hands together and laughs because it just drives his social media. But I kind of agree in a way. I always like seeing new tournaments and organizations come around, just to have different varieties, different people working in it, whatever, just have a new thing for Blast Series. But it is kind of weird that Blast Series is now trying to take over everything by forcing teams or making teams play at their event over other events. I mean, Cologne has been around, for a long time when Blast Series wasn't around. They weren't doing CS. They weren't, Blast Series is relatively new compared to ESL or IEM or whatever. And so it's, I don't know, it's kind of bittersweet in a way where Blast Series does have, I guess, some positives to it. It's shorter tournament days for the players, which is nice for the players, but the tournament format itself is pretty bad. Best of ones all the way to the grand finals is kind of So, I mean, I wouldn't mind that for a couple times a year. Sure, why not have a tournament like that? Something different. But when you're stating you're going to have 8 to 12 a year of this kind of format and making a lot of these like top one teams like Astralis or Team Liquid not play other events, that's when it becomes a problem. That's when it becomes a very weird situation. And like, what term do I choose? Do I choose ESL? Do I choose Blast Series or Face It? Like whatever. Like it becomes very interesting. And I'm not the business side, so I can't really tell you like from a business point of view. But as a player and a fan, it is definitely not good for the scene. It's just having a lot of people want to see Astralis play the best of the best, but they're not going to all the tournaments anymore. So it becomes a problem.
What's your take on it, Di? Liquid skipping this event for Blast, if that's true.
So they are. So I know kind of insider info because one of my teammates is dating one of the Liquid players, so kind of know a little something. But I'm just gonna say that they wouldn't be skipping ESL unless they had to. So we'll just keep it at that.
Okay.
Fair
enough. We won't press you for your sources, but let's go.
Yeah, don't have to press, but it's it's the problem of them forcing teams to not participate. It should be up to the team to decide if they want to go or not, because they can't force teams. That's the problem. They can't force teams not to go other events.
Yeah,
and that's what's going to kill. I'm not going to say it's going to kill the scene, but it's going to divide the scene into something I don't even know what
weird thing. Yeah, right. You know what I mean? Like it's interesting to see how it's going to evolve. Like how I just don't see how. I mean, money or whatever the actual reason is aside, like Liquid missing ESL Cologne being the number 2 team in the world. This doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? We're talking about
feel right.
The cathedral
it doesn't feel
of
right.
Counter-Strike, as they say. Like,
yeah.
I would want to play there over Blast, but obviously conflicting dates, and you travel halfway around the world or whatever. So
people love Tier 1. I mean, you'd think that all these extra events will bring a little more light to Tier 2 teams to attend and stuff, but they don't even get the invites half the time. It's always Tier 1's always priority. They bring in the numbers, they have the money, so you always want to just keep bringing them in more and more over Tier 2. But we have to step back and try to grow the scene as a whole. Like the CSGO team is one of the most popular esports in the world, but it only focuses on the 0.1% of gamers. I love CS. I love watching high play, high tier, great CS. I love it. But if it's only appealing to the 0.1% of players, it's going to leave a big void and bitterness for everyone else that, like I'm not saying hand a piece to everybody, but, at least give them a chance, give them a chance to prove themselves and, just not having to choose events or only applying to Tier 1 teams. Spread it out. Spread the love.
That's what it's about. Just spread the love around, guys. That's all we need.
Spread the love.
So it was kind of a light week for news. I'm actually kind of thankful for that because I write the shows and everything.
There
But
you
you had
go.
Valen. Lucky for that guy. So you had Valens replace Rambo as Cloud9's coach.
This is weird.
You think this is odd?
Well, Rambo was, I guess, in a trial period, but he started only a couple months ago. So I'm wondering, because Valen wanted to take more of an analytical, or not analytical, it's like he's like doing stats or something for C9. I don't know, something weird with education. That's not
Yeah.
CSGO, at least it seemed like on paper. So I'm curious what happened with Rambo and C9, because I've known Ron for over a decade, and he's a pretty smart person. So I'm kind of curious what was the straw or what happened behind the scenes. It's something I wish I could share some light on.
Yeah, I feel like they're really picky about their coach. I mean, I think that's why Soham is or Valens has stayed there for so long. I don't know. Maybe he has like a he's because he's been there from the start with Automatic. He's been on that team coaching for like since TSM days, maybe like what
Yeah.
2016,
It's
2017,
been a
something like
while.
that.
2017.
Yeah. So maybe they're not he's not accustomed to how Rambo's coaching compared to Valens is. Because I
Yeah,
mean, to be fair, Valens is a really smart guy. I mean, he worked at Google and like Tesla and shit. So,
made his own
uh,
cheats. Fun fact for
yeah,
people didn't
yeah.
know about CS. He made his own CSGO or CS cheats. I don't know about CSGO, but CS cheats. Throw that out there,
Back in
Valen.
1.6,
Shame on
yeah.
you. Shame on you, Valen.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I picked him up. Like,
Uh,
undetected.
yeah,
Regardless,
but
he's a
it's
smart
weird.
guy. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, just like kind of looking at the background, he was with Cloud9 for a while. The last
Mhm.
time he coached was at the E-League Invitational, which was arguably the best finish Cloud9 has had since their E-League Invitational second place finish against FaZe, right? And he was
Mhm.
there for the Boston Major when they came in first. So I don't know. You guys don't think this is the right move for them? Or you just think it's strange that Rambo
I
kind of
mean,
leaves
their roster is all
unexpectedly?
sorts of wonky too, though.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they've been having some weird pickups lately. So I feel like they're still trying to figure out like, well, there's nobody getting an A, so they're switching over to EU, but they're also picking up the EU scrap. So for me, I don't know. Their roster's really weird,
It
and I think
is.
once they find like players who can actually mesh together, like it'll actually might become good.
So do you think
Yeah.
C9 continues to go through this weird, like, let me scrap a guy here, a couple months until they figure it out? Or like, what do you think is the long-term plan for them? What should it be?
I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like for starters, they need like I don't know if they're trying to keep Golden, but I don't think he's the worst IGL in the world. But at the same time, it's like, does he
Can
use
he
his players
travel?
correctly? Yeah,
Can he even
I
travel?
top of that
That's a
too.
big one.
Yeah.
I know. I agree. I don't know. They've had an unstable roster for over a year now. I guess since the Boston major, they've had an unstable roster. Like they haven't had a full five in the entire 2018, pretty much after that. So you kind of think, okay, weird roster, and oh, they kind of make it work with Flush and Keo. Oh, we see a lot of promise. All of a sudden, they just get up and leave. Like, you serious? Like, what just happened? What happened since the major? And you want to quit a tier one organization for not even doing anything. Like Keel's, I don't even know if he's on the team. I don't think he's on the team right now. And then I think Flush is still in his away mode.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the dealio is, and I just on paper it doesn't look good for Cloud9. But then again, you
No,
just
not at
can't
all.
judge everything by paper, and just get a stable five and work with them. Get some players with potential, see what works, and just try to work with that. I mean, as Dan said, a lot of these people were kind of like leftovers from the EU, like Cajun B. Like he got cut. I don't know if he got cut from Optic and all them, but
Yeah.
he's pretty much went from Team Secret, TSM, all the way down to now Cloud9. I mean, Cloud9's still a great team, good organization. Don't get me wrong, but it felt like it's like his fourth option. he's taking his fourth option to C9. So I don't know. Like it's a weird organization. Hopefully they'll be able to figure something out, at least with roster wise. Just have a stable roster for a while. Start winning. That's it. Just don't lose your EPL spot. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, that'd be devastating
Oh,
for
that'd be
them.
emo.
They definitely don't need that. Someone in the chat, Risen TV, says they need to wipe. I assume he's talking about C9. I just looked down at it.
Yeah, a lot of consensus.
I kind of with that.
A lot of consensus is to kind of start over, but I like Automatic. I actually like Vice. I think he's kind of underrated in terms of being maybe more of a support player. But Cajun B's been fragging. Don't know how he is with, I guess, overall. Golden, he has his problems. And then Rush. I like Rush, but I don't know. I feel like it feels like he's been underperforming the last whole year. So I don't know if he has to maybe try to refine his role or maybe try to do something a little different. Because in his old roles, he was kind of, watch the spot, kind of do something methodical. But I don't know. It just hasn't been working for him. So I don't know what he has to do to really fit in this
team. I felt like he was always an entry on that team.
Yeah, it's at least on Inferno, one of the he's always halls a lot, just like lurking halls almost every single round. It's like 9 rounds in a row he's been lurking halls. So not always the best game plan, but it's something, I guess. So maybe just try to find a different spot for him. Maybe just change something up. I don't know. Go back to old reliable. What got him there?
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Well, we got a piece of that now with Valence, so.
Yeah, but maybe they'll find something.
We had IEM Sydney this past weekend. It was brutal trying to watch all the games, but if I was up, and usually I was because my puppy gets up and claws me in the eyeball every morning at 6 a.m., so I'm up. Sing a little show tune and get up, and drink a coffee, and catch 1 or 2 of the games from IEM Sydney. But the tournament was, I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I cut a little highlight package from that. We'll run that real fast and get into it.
Are you ready for some action here? It's going to be just 2 in the 5 grand final. Will be all she wrote. And quite frankly, the Australians are loving it, Chad.
The Breezy will have 6 HP. That's going to confirm things. You can get higher than that, guys. Pretty average now so far. I want to see taller than that.
Not going to lie, though. If you're the person that knocks it off, we're going to have to kick you out. I'm just saying. So be careful.
Strong angle towards that connector.
Crims goes back in through short. I swear, Blizzard, I didn't do this.
Get Lil Momo out of my house. Gurn out of control. There's definitely no sock underneath that either. That is all, man. Little late to the party, but Australia's better late than never. And here we go. Here we go. He's gonna do it to him. He's gonna take it off. Who is this?
Predictions on the result?
2-0.
Okay, I like your confidence. I love it. I like meeting Dick. I don't know about you guys on the desk.
Meeting. Yeah, okay, meeting. Okay, yeah. I just want to, because sometimes it's a little. So
you can forget Pro League, you can forget Chicago, you can forget New York, you can forget ECS, forget them all because IEM is finally liquid.
Yeah. I mean, Henry's a wanker. Fuck you, Overwatch. You got Bad Fallen right here. What is even up with this? Like, what is the story of Bad Fallen?
He's a memer. He's a memer. Look at him. He's such a troll.
Oh my gosh, the show match was incredible. The caches, I loved it.
That's a lot of people. I think they should have a major at Sydney. I don't care about the time zone because the crowd is so electric. They deserve it. I wish they have it.
Awesome.
Those guys, that crowd was unbelievable. And, great matches all around from a lot of these CS teams like Fnatic, Team Liquid, but the crowd was MVP. They're always MVP in Australia. They're just so ridiculous. They have to have more events. And, I mean, it does suck that the time zone's really way off. But, hey, screw it. I'd watch any event in Australia any day. Any day.
They're singing like Bon Jovi in just the middle of a set. You know what I mean? Like, living on, I mean, what do you even?
I love it.
Come up with this stuff, like
passion. It's got heart over there.
Yeah,
I like it.
When was the last big tournament in Australia?
Last IEM Sydney, probably.
Really?
Probably. Well, they have oceanic qualifiers for majors, I think. But as for tournament, they usually have an IEM Sydney every year.
Yeah, there's no way.
I don't know if there's
that.
I mean,
Not a
it's
shot.
always crazy. It's always crazy over there.
All those pizza boxes, were those like once full? They just assembled like 40 of them. Like I have so many questions about this. Like, who imagine the guy that just starts to rally. He's like, all right, guys, everyone assemble your pizza. We're gonna stack 40 of them on my head. And everyone's just like, fuck yeah, let's do it. I mean,
great, I like it.
Yeah, I love it. So in Sydney, you had what people are calling the series of the year, which is Fnatic versus NIP. There's some highlights from that. We'll pull them up. But you had 2 double overtime matches. Fnatic came on top. Forest and Rez were playing out of their mind. I saw tweets coming out and saying the game doesn't decide when the game is over. Forest decides. You know what I mean? Because he was playing so good. So did you guys happen to catch any of this match? And if so, what did you think about the series between these two? Swedish clash.
The inter-country matches are always really interesting because it seems like, okay, there's a little rivalry here. Who's the best in Sweden? Same thing with Brazil as well. They have that kind of same thing with MIBR and Furia right now. But I was just watching like a lot of the highlights of this, and I was getting goosebumps from just the highlights. I can't imagine being in the stadium when everyone's going back and forth in every single round and the OTs and just how the map ended and how the series ended. It's pretty amazing, I guess, experience to be there at that moment. Like I'd remember that for the rest of my life if I was there. Especially if it's your first event. Even second event, doesn't matter. I've been to many events and I felt the goosebumps. I felt the energy from everybody. It was just, it's always glad to see like matches like these. Even if you lose, you have to be kind of smiling. Wow, that was a pretty insane match.
Yeah. I often like reflect on a couple like international soccer games I went to, like Barcelona versus PSG. And a few of them when I was in Europe, and like I imagine one day people are gonna be like, "Yeah, I saw Fnatic and NIP play at IEM Sydney." Like, you know what I mean? Like it's almost at that point.
It's gonna be there. It's gonna get there. Getting there.
Yeah,
sports is taking over.
That was a hell of a match. So I think there was a report actually on Hotspawn, our partners, from the match. A little more detail on that game itself and how it shook down. But obviously, most importantly, you had Liquid finally break the curse. And they take first place at IEM Sydney. Thank the fucking Lord that this happened.
Yeah.
I mean, if they didn't, I don't know. My head would explode. Like,
I think everyone's head would explode, and possibly. I mean, I don't think you want to change up the roster, but I'm sure people will consider it. Like, I mean, they have success with this roster. Second place is nothing just to be like, again. I mean, that's still really good. It's not easy getting second place at these tournaments all the time like they are doing. And I think the last tournament they won was like a summit, I believe. A long time ago. It was a while ago. It was like 2017 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a while. It feels like they always got second place. Other than
Malta,
I guess
the Supernova Malta.
They
won, and then by Power, but then even then, like Malta didn't have Astralis. It didn't have a lot of the top teams, if I remember.
The only top teams were like Energy Big. I mean, you had Tyloo and stuff, but I won't consider them on a level like Astralis or anything.
Yeah, and then
to be fair though,
sorry.
I mean, to be fair though, for me, I thought they were gonna win IEM Sydney, or I expected them to win it. It's just because they've been second to Australis for so long now. It's like if Australis isn't there, then for sure they should be winning that tournament. I mean, Fnatic still put up a great fight. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Australis is so good right now that it's like they've changed the entire meta, and it's like it's hard to beat Australis. It's really hard.
Yeah.
So
because they have so much tools like a Team Liquid. They have a lot of tools where they could change up a default, their I guess play speed style, like the pace of the game. Like it's not like a team, say a Furia, where there's a lot of explosive play. They have a distinct style. Well, Astralis' distinct style is adapting to every single situation possible. So it's very hard to read, very hard to really adjust in the game. Like, yeah, you can watch a demo and say, oh my goodness, they were doing this entire time. But in the game, they mask everything so well. It's just hard to tell apart. And it's one of the reasons why they're so good.
It's like playing the
top
Terminator.
of being amazing players.
Where did Glaive come from? He's literally a godsend to them. That's crazy.
I don't know. He was apparently he was tearing up the tier 2 scene for a while and just finally got his calling up and just ran with it.
Yeah, what I heard is back in the
that's all I really
Greek
heard from him.
ages, there's a god by the name of Zeus threw a lightning bolt. And,
Yeah.
he's going to be
Glaive
the best
came out of the ground.
IGL in the world. In 2017, he's going to merge. He's going to run the entire CS scene.
But you could tell that Astralis is the type of team where it's not just Glaive. The entire team is on the system. Zonic, their coach, their whole organization is just all in, doing whatever they can to win, and it's working. And it's just, I mean, you can't have that much pressure on Glaive because it's you can, but it's a whole team effort. They're just, everyone's putting 110%, and you can just tell just with all they're doing and how well they do it.
It's easy.
I mean, they also work with sports psychologists too.
Yeah, that's like a big thing. Wasn't Astralis one of the first teams to introduce that into the scene?
At least publicly.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
They also have masseuses, which Colin told us.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah,
What's up, Seal? What's up, CLG? Tell me what's up.
I was listening
every day. Come on.
Yeah. Do you think it's always easy to get kind of like infatuated with the moment in terms of like a team like Liquid winning in a big event like this? Do you think them actually crossing over this hump and winning a tournament like IEM is going to position them to start winning and coming in first place more often at these tournaments, maybe challenging Astralis? What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I don't know, because Astralis wasn't there. I think their hurdle is Astralis. It's yes, winning is a hurdle too. Winning tournament was a hurdle, but Astralis is even a bigger hurdle than winning a tournament that you think you're supposed to win, or you know you're supposed to win, and maybe they'll be able to take more maps off Astralis, but unless Astralis has an off day or they just stop practicing, man, it's so hard to just imagine them losing on a consistent basis. Like you can't imagine that. It's not in our minds right now. We can't even fathom it. That's how good they are. They're just that dominant.
It just seems to be their mentality strength. I don't know. It feels like they crumble a lot of the times versus Australia. So when they start losing, you can just see them blatantly throwing, and it's just like, if it was a better day or if they were in like a more fair mindset, 100% they would be winning these rounds. Or like you could just see like the throw, like 100% the blatant throw, and it's like you guys just need to fix that, and that they would be so good.
Yeah. Hopefully this win kind of sparks something in them. At least it is tough to say. I mean, I'm not gonna say Astralis or Liquid's gonna start beating Astralis consistently. I mean,
it should definitely.
It's a barrier they pass.
Make them a stronger second place team. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't call them first at all yet, but
no.
You can still say that they're very strong, even a stronger second place team if they got second place again.
Yeah.
Because even though they get in second place every single tournament, considering the second best team, if you're losing every tournament, you're not really the second best team, especially if the first place team isn't there. So, I think this did give them a boost. Comments, hey, we're a little better than what maybe we thought we were. And hopefully they can snowball that into something, more consistent results, or at least not getting blown out in the finals. Like if you lose a finals, very nail biter, sometimes it's okay. A couple mistakes will fix it, that kind of mentality. But if you get, 16-5, 16-8 against Astralis, you still have a lot of work to go, or at least a lot of mental work you need to do.
Yeah, totally agree. Coming up, we got Blast Pro Series Madrid this weekend. That's my background here. I'm in Madrid. I failed to make mention of that in case anyone was wondering, like, why. Last week I had kangaroos. I was just in a kangaroo.
There you go. You're in Sydney. Now you're back.
Yeah. Now I'm in Madrid. I've actually been in Madrid. I like it a lot.
Never been there. I heard it's beautiful.
It is. As you could see, the architecture here
looks great.
It's quite nice. I'm actually in the middle.
How's
of
the weather? Yeah.
It's sunny, you know.
It's a,
Blue skies.
is that 4K right there? Is that a 4K picture? What is that?
Yeah. I think so.
720p.
It's good enough. You know, some shops on this side somewhere.
There you go.
Mixed up over here.
There you go.
That's weird. So we got Blast Madrid. You have Astralis. They're there. C9, Ents, Navi, Nip, and the Iberian Plan. You always got to watch out for those guys. So I might just steal the show. Yeah, good little mix of teams. Obviously, it's always good to see Ents, and then Navi not being in Sydney, as well as Astralis. I think that'll make for an interesting bout at this tournament. Yeah. So
I mean, as we kind of blasted last series about taking over the tournament, I guess it still should be a good tournament. And you look at the teams, Astralis, Ents, Navi, NIP. NIP just had a great series versus Fnatic, which could have went anywhere. I mean, could have went either way. Like, yeah, one round difference would have swung the favor in NIP. So it's good to see them into it. Ents hasn't been doing too hot, at least online. They've been guys actually getting
sort of fell off a little bit.
Kind of smashed online, and whether that's, you know, maybe they're a team where they need boot camps and they're really good after a boot camping session. Maybe it shows a little bit about their practice habits. Maybe they're just a little too lax when there's not a big tournament coming up. They're not taking things as serious as they did for the major. So it's good to see them on LAN again and see how they would just kind of bounce back, maybe win some matches against these teams. And with the format, again, one bet. If a team has a bad day, you're out of the tournament. I mean, look at Astralis, the last Pro Series. They had one bad day and got knocked out really early. So it could be anyone's game except for Iberian Plan. I don't even know who that is. Who is
I
that?
literally never heard of them.
It will be a qualifier. It's a qualifier.
Oh, okay.
I
was
was
like,
a team. I was like, Iberian Plan? Who's in the Iberian League? Like, what's Iberian? I don't even know what that is. Is that a country?
not sure.
Am I just that ignorant?
Iberia?
American ignorance right there?
To be honest, I
Iberian.
don't
What does
know.
that even mean? Iberian. Wait, Iberia.
Is that a type of ham? Am I crazy?
Iberia.
It is, right?
It says Iberia's an airline.
I've eaten something Iberia or Iberian. I swear to God. It might have been in Europe.
Iberia.
What's the research say on those bears?
Iberia. Maybe it's a city in Madrid, or Spain. Or
That would make
something.
more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lot
that's
more
what I'm
than
thinking. It has to
ham.
be like a city or something in Spain, or maybe it means something else.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop right there.
Yeah.
And
we'll
just
cut that off.
Iberia. If anyone knows, let Cody know, and then he can let me know.
Yeah.
Twitter at Cody.
Twitch, or Twitch chat, whatever you want. What do you guys think in terms of top three? If we get some predictions, Di, you want to kick this one off?
Easy for Ents. I'm gonna say that for all three.
Okay. All right.
Ooh, spicy.
Not only will Astralis not
Spicy.
come in first, second, or third.
Hence is taking all three of them. They're playing all the matches.
All right. I'm down with it. Let's go. Let's put Finnish CS on the map, baby. What about you, Erik?
I'm gonna
DaBears.
say Navi. Well, I don't know why I'm saying Navi, but
you just
it's
want
best of one
those
series.
curveballs.
I'm gonna put Navi, Astralis, and then I'm gonna put NIP as third.
Okay.
Just because Ents,
Spicy.
you've been on the down low. Prove me wrong. Just prove me wrong, Ents. Just prove me wrong. I
Okay.
think NIP will take third. And since it's best of one formats, you get random. Navi. I say Navi takes it. Simple has a good tournament. Let's say that.
Okay.
As always.
He always has a good tournament. What do you
Yeah.
He always has
mean?
a good tournament. You're right. You're right. I don't
Well,
know.
every tournament he's been to is a good tournament.
Let's say Edward. Edward has a good tournament, and they win.
Boom.
There you go.
There you go. Even more of a chance.
If Edward frags, they win. We could let Zeus go 5-15. He calls strats. It's okay. We'll let it slide. So let's let him be bait.
Let's see.
There's a
For
role to
me,
play.
I'm not sure who the Iberian Plan or qualifier will be, but I got a good feeling about these guys. So taken first. Second,
Oh,
Astralis.
Vitality.
Third is Navi. Are they in that?
I mean, they might qualify, right?
Yeah, is that what it
They're
is?
doing really
should've
well,
looked
so I
into this
think.
more.
Well, I don't know, but I would say Vitality. Let's just say Vitality. I think they
Okay.
have the best chance to qualify. Let's go.
There we go. All right, Vitality's going in first, and Astralis then ends. Here we go. I'm throwing it out. But all right, to wrap up the show, we like to do we got our play of the week and then our banter of the week. End on a high note. That's what we like to do. So the first would be our Hotspawn play of the week. I was simply overwhelmed by the excitement factor of all the clips from Sydney and the highlights. So pick this one. It's called Cold Goes Clutch. Let's run it right now.
Finds it. It's all on Cold on the bomb site. We've seen him clutch here before, though.
Exactly. Can he do it once again here for MIBR in such a critical round? Will Mousesports even give him that opportunity as they start to filter their way onto the bomb site all together? But they're peeking the wrong angles. Coldzera has a chance now. 2 have fallen, and it's on to Pros, and he gets the job done. Coldzera! What is that?
Something better that existed, but still just a classic Cold clutch.
So I was trying to put myself in the mindset of Coldzera here, because he always has like these clutch rounds, and I think he's just really good at focusing, like being in that flow state zone where he's just, because I mean it's not a typical 1-on-3 here. He's at a default bomb site and people are swarming all around the area. So, but he plays every angle the perfect you can play at that moment. And it just shows that when he's in his flow state, this guy is a whole different beast. And I'm wondering if he's able to do this more in future tournaments, because Coldzera has kind of been on a slump lately, especially with the roster change. They might be switching in Taco, switching out Taco or whatever, and then coming back with him. So he's just a monster player, and Coldzera saw a little bit of his stardom right here. Hopefully he could bring more up to it. I mean, to be honest, kind of a poor play from
a little bit of luck
Mousesports.
too. Yeah,
I mean, luck is always a factor, because I mean hindsight's always 20/20. Oh, obviously they should have picked together, but they don't know exactly where he is at the exact moment, and so it's definitely they should have tightened up on the formation a little bit. As you can see, Mousesports giving away the positions. They're running around. Cold already knows where 2 of them are. He peeks, and then the Walks goes way too late on the exchange.
Yeah.
So just bad time for Mousesports. A little bit of luck of Coldzera, but a masterful play with the situation that he was given. So got to give him credit when credit's due.
He's so good.
Yeah.
We love seeing good stuff from Cold.
Confidence goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. Also smart for him after he gets the first kill. You have another guy standing in front of you, but he doesn't go for him, right? Even though his back's turned to him, he backs up, somehow knows Walks is coming behind him, probably sound cue, takes him out, and then wraps around and gets the third kill.
You have to think at that level that people are so good, and they would kind of think of angles. When you shoot at someone, you want to trade the kill. That's like the most basic fundamental of CS at the high level. So he expects someone to shoot from his back. Obviously if Mousesports all peek the same angle, he has a chance for a multi-spray down. So instead you want to kind of attack the angles at 2 or 3 different points at once, so you can't physically hit all shots at the same time. So the idea is to attack it once, shoot him at different angles. But since the time was off, he knew that as soon as he takes a shot this way, someone's probably going to peek him from the lights. Someone's going to peek him from the side or the back or whatever. But since his back was against the wall, there's only like 2 other angles that could peek from. And he looked like a guy from the Dota video. There you go. I want to see that picture, that base hunter, like at the very start of the Dota video, when it's in the dark and playing in the dark, and that his mom comes in asking what he's doing.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
Mom,
anyways,
nothing. All right, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, so it's a monitor or whatever sensor. I guess my heart rate was just a little too low because they're super sensitive. So, I was getting a little relaxed. I was in my flow state, right? My heart rate slowed down. The lights picked up on that and went out. But yeah, nonetheless, super clutch play from Cold. And lastly, just to wrap it up, we have our banter of the week. Let's pull this up right now. We'll have our mics up so we can talk. So I don't know if you guys knew, but there was a proposal.
Oh my God, no, not this clip.
At IEM Sydney.
Oh God, your face.
Yeah, no,
it's really awkward.
Stop.
Don't. Don't.
stop this right now. Hold on.
No, don't say no. Oh wait, she said
Back
yes.
up. Okay, look at that. That is your
Oh,
forever
that.
moment.
I didn't even notice that.
A big old
Oh, I thought
hairy
you were looking, Eric. No.
butt
I was looking at her
crack.
face
Yeah,
because her
censor
face.
that.
Oh, why you got to put that there? That's not nice. That's not. I'm not. My face isn't a cover up. All right, so let it hang out. Oh
Look
my
at that
goodness.
still. That looks.
Come on. Oh. That's the face I'm making right now. You see the female on the left? That's the face I'm making. Like, what is going on? I'm sure she was like, "Oh my god."
That.
Okay. Well, at least she said yes. Congratulations, dude.
Yeah.
And girl.
Absolutely. That. I mean that's your forever moment there. Like you didn't think just pull up your pants a little bit. You know.
Well, now we'll never forget it.
Just remember as the
We'll never forget that moment. So it was a moment in time we will never, or they will never forget, or their friends, or their family, because in the future, their friends gonna give him shit all the time.
Yeah.
I would. If my friend did that and I did that, I'd roast him
yeah.
day in, day out until he's tired of it, or she, and then I'll do it even longer, just to be that guy.
It'll be
So
great when
they
they have
remember.
kids. You guys want to know how I propose to your mom? I have a clip right here.
Yeah. Like, hey, I'm number 1 on Twitch clips right now for ESL CSGO, Mom. Like,
the best
check this
proposal
out.
ever. Let's go.
Sydney, honestly, just to cap it off, the tournament had everything, literally, from the crowd, some of the matches.
Give them
liquid,
a major.
A big old
Give them a major.
butt crack on the stream. I mean, yeah. Give this country major. They deserve it.
They deserve it.
Absolutely.
We got it all.
That's going to do it for the show today, guys. Di, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Of course. Hey.
Diane.
Any concluding words for us before you go? Any shameless plugs, wherever you want?
I got all my plugs right on the bottom right here, guys. Right here.
There you
Don't
go.
you worry
Follow
about
that
it. But
Twitter.
thank you guys
Ask
for
her
having me on the
questions.
show.
Support her.
No sweat. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Diane. Thank you for coming on. It was a pleasure
Of
having you on
course,
and
that was
seeing you
fun.
again. And hopefully you guys do well in more tournaments and be rooting from you on the sideline. Woo.
Of course. Knock on wood, though. Got
Got none of that from me, but all right. Thank you so much. And Erik, as always, been a pleasure.
Thank you,
my
guys.
man.
Adios, amigos.
Adios,
Au
guys.
revoir. Avide.
Always got to slip that in at the end. So a little, whatever that is. Yeah, guys, that's going to do it for the show today. Thank you, as always, for watching. Thank you to Diane. Obviously, Erik, DaBears for always coming on, holding it down on the show. Hope you enjoyed. We're here every Thursday, 2 p.m. Central, giving you the best in CS, all the happenings, all the drama, all the tournament insights you can ever want, and obviously having our special guests, as we did on today from time to time. But that's going to do it for the show. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at TheReloadFM and at UGC Events. They are the ones producing the show. And obviously our sponsors at Hotspawn Esports is their Twitter handle. And then you could also go to their site, www.hotspawn.com, for the best in esports news, data, analysis. That's going to do it for me. I will catch you guys next week. Thank you.